Episode, I'm going to be going over entering new markets here. I'm actually out here in Casper, Wyoming in my hotel room right now, but I was out here looking at a fix and flip that I had done, and it's all completed now and on the market, looking great. We're getting great activity on it. Hopefully it moves quickly here. A lot of showings, so we'll see where it goes here. It's just been not even a week that it's been listed here. I think we're about 5 days in. So I'm hoping to expect some offers here in the next week or two. I'm out here looking at other properties potential. We were looking at one other one to fix and flip at 85K, but there's already been people. So I told the agent, I figure we get outbid by a homeowner on this one, somebody who wants to live there, an owner occupant. And right now the highest bid's like around 105 or so. So we're out of that one. It's just the numbers don't work for an investor, but it does work for an owner occupant. But I'm out looking at now basically small level apartment complexes. We got a 12 unit and a 9-unit complex that I'm looking at right here. And made offers. They're listed, the 12 units listed at 475. We made an offer 420 on that one. They countered at 450. The 9-unit, which is 3 duplexes and 1 triplex, 4 separate buildings there. They're at 320 and I offered 285. They countered at 3. We'll probably meet somewhere kind of in the middle there. I'm hoping to be in the 290, 295 number at most. These properties need a lot of work, heavy renovations. They need kitchens, bathrooms. 2 of the 4 buildings need new roofs. You have new siding they need, a bunch of new windows, a lot of landscaping, some concrete work. So what I was originally looking at is potentially like a 350 budget. I'm now moving up to that 420, 425 number here, and that is with a manager too, somebody who's going to property manage it for me, not property manage, but be my project manager on this whole rehab project here. It's the realtor I'm using out in this area, and he knows the market really, really well. It's great as far as the location because it's in a great transportation. There's shopping and food and all that kind of stuff all around. And there's a lot of new construction right around it, which is bringing the values up, which is also very, very helpful. But when you're going out to a new market like this, and I want to do more here. It's kind of one of the reasons that I went out here. I rarely, as most of you guys know, I don't like to go to the properties. But if it's an area where I'm thinking long-term or potentially thinking of moving to Wyoming where I am, I definitely am looking at the Jackson Hole area and places in and around that Jackson Hole area. It's very pricey, but the real estate taxes are dirt cheap. Cost of living is a lot lower. Insurance is going to be lower. Schooling should be pretty decent. There's, going to be smaller classes. It's a higher end area. So I imagine I have some pretty good private and potentially public schools there. Those are things we're looking at. And when you're going to a new market, that's kind of some of the things you need to look at. Know what the cost is for utilities, know what the cost is for property taxes, because property taxes that I pounded in you guys over the course of this podcast are important in cash flowing properties. If you're in areas where taxes are high, like New Jersey, like New York, you're going to pay, your cash flow is going to really be diminished. And those places, and California too, right? And there's other states too that are high. You're just going to get killed on cash flow, and it's just going to keep going up over time. Your cash flow is going to get crunched more and more and more. So those are areas I don't want to hold long-term. I do have a bunch of Pennsylvania rentals, and the taxes are not bad on those there, pretty decent, but I may move some of those and move rentals into this area here out in Wyoming and more in Texas and some other markets that are great for long-term, like Ohio, like Indiana, like Tennessee. All these are great markets for long-term rentals. I think Oklahoma could be good too in some areas as well, and even Kansas. You're just going to have a low cost of entry. One, you're going to have low taxes, low insurance cost. You're going to have lower rents for sure, but your cash flow is not going to be crunched as much. You just want to make sure you're in areas where they're desirable, where it's growing. So what I like to do when I'm looking at new areas to go to, so let's say you're in a major hub, a real growing area, right? So you got that circle, and that's pretty pricey, right? So I go outside that circle. There's 2 rings I'll go outside. One your outer ring, and I'll try to buy there, and then another ring outside even further, because figuring 5 to 10 years growth will go out to those areas. And that's where you're going to get major appreciation and lower cost of entry. So things to look for when you're entering a new market, and you definitely want to do that. You want to set up kind of a target and then go around there, find out what is around there too, because there could be negative things in around. So, as far as landfills or other negative things in that area, flooding, because you don't want to pay for flood insurance, which is another costly item in holding a rental. Don't ever get a property in a flood area unless it's a vacation rental, near the ocean or a lake, that will make up for it with higher rents. Otherwise, it's just going to eat up your cash flow. And looking at some of the municipalities, the townships, what they charge for trash, for water, for sewer. For example, I have a duplex up in Portland, Pennsylvania, and what they charge for water, sewer, and trash is ridiculous. It is just insane what the monthly cost is for that. So that's a property I'll just be fixing and flipping and will never hold in that area. It's something that it's important when you're looking at areas where you're going to buy properties, right? So my target markets right now, as far as where I'm looking to, not investment advice, right? But this is what I'm personally doing. I'm going to be looking more for rentals out here in Wyoming, where I could put these properties into a 1,000-year dynasty trust and get extra protections and potentially tax benefits. I'm also going to be looking at properties in Texas, potentially some in New Mexico too. Again, lower cost of entry and lower taxes. Nevada could be markets I'm going to be looking at there. I'm going to also look at these low income tax states where people are moving to. If you are really interested in looking at what areas you're going to have growth over the next decade, the no income tax states, states like Wyoming, like Texas, like Florida, like Tennessee, like Nevada. I think there's a total of 7 of them. Alaska, and I'm missing other one, might be Oregon or Washington. But Washington, I would avoid that state for the most part. It's got other high costs there and other issues that you don't want to deal with. But those are good markets to look at to hold rentals long term. And then it's looking at those areas, those states where the growth are. Idaho's got great growth too. They do have higher taxes, but we have a lot of California people moving to Idaho, to Salt Lake City, Utah. They're even moving to Montana and Wyoming, unfortunately, to try to ruin this state with their politics, I guess, or these states. But hopefully they won't. Hopefully the people moving are sick of what those politicians do out there and vote the right way. We'll see. Time will tell on that. I know they're trying to flip Texas, but good luck on that. You're not going to be able to do that very easily. They'll always have Austin, but not much outside of that. But these are these are the things that you're going to look for when you're going into new markets, right? They're very important things for buy and hold, not just buy and hold though too, but fix and flip, right? Because you're going to get appreciation because there's so many people moving in these markets. I was listening to Ken McElroy, he has great YouTube channel, by the way, guys should take a look at it. He gives great info on that, on real estate in general. And I think there's a 30-month supply in Manhattan, New York right now of real estate, where the rest of the country is 3 months, 31 months. So everybody is getting out of there, and I can't blame them. California is going to have a similar thing, and other states that are New Jersey, other states that are highly undesirable and people don't want to live there anymore and moving out of there. So these are markets you definitely want to avoid, and you want to look at the low tax state, the low cost of entry, good long-term growth. I do like Indiana, Ohio, always. They're steady Eddie states. You're going to get, your cash flow is going to be good. You're not going to get much appreciation, but that's okay. If you're looking for just cash flow, great market to be in. Michigan, I like Michigan long-term too. I'm still bullish on it, especially outside of Detroit, Grand Rapids. There's many other cities in there where you could hold rentals and do very well on. The costs are low. The taxes and insurance costs are probably pretty affordable there too. So that's another area actually I'm going to be looking in, more southern Michigan, for rentals here. And you might get some appreciation in some of those markets there, especially the suburbs, going out an hour or so away from Detroit, where I think you'll have pretty good demand long term. And if Detroit ever rebounds at some point, then those things will do even better, and Detroit itself will do better. So that's my quick little short podcast here from Casper, Wyoming. I may make a second part of this and add it after the fact, but this is what you're doing when you're looking for a new market. These are the things you need to look for and know what you're getting into. And that's why it's good to go visit a new market when you're looking to get into a new market. That way, you know what the landscape is like, and you get a feel for things, and you get a feel for how many for sale signs there are, or just, just what inventory looks like. And I know inventory is really short here. There's a high demand for rentals, which I'm looking at these properties for, because there's such a shortage of rentals here. So I'm, like I said, I'm bullish long-term here in Wyoming and also Montana. Montana is just a little bit more costly depending on where you want to invest there. But great states to invest in long-term, and great states if you like skiing like I do. All right, guys, back again, following up on what we were talking about earlier. I did go visit the multi-unit property today, again, for a third time since I've been here. And then I took a look at a self-storage facility, too, that's also for sale. And be getting the numbers on that shortly, but it's a newer place. Looks pretty decent. Has RV parking as well. 2 different parcels. One is 1.6 acres, which is what the facility is on. And then there's a 3.6 acre lot, 3.6 or 3.9, where the RVs are stored. And that, I think a lot of wasted space over there too. Could add more units if the demand's there for the self-storage. So that's something I'm looking at there too. Now I want to get into mindset and what you need, what your mindset needs to be if you're looking at a state or if you're looking to go into a new market, because most investors I talk to don't understand how I just buy blindly in all these different markets and then resell them without ever going to visit the property. And it's really just a mindset. Some people are just control freaks. I think most investors are control freaks, and they want to see and touch everything and know exactly what they have. And really, you don't need to. It's not that important. I don't know why people feel it's so important to go see the place and know every little aspect of it. Look, you're looking at these properties, there's a value of the property. You're either buying it at a bargain price or you're not, right? You either make a profit or you lose because of your own stupidity. And you've got to look at the numbers. The numbers will tell you everything. And it's just a numbers game. It's not go see it, touch it, feel it, waste my time and energy going doing all that kind of BS. And honestly, guys, that is really just a monumental waste of energy. I don't know why so many people spend so much time going out and looking at these properties. Have somebody else do it for you. Get videos, get pictures. The quality on these iPhone cameras is out of this world. So you get a pretty damn good idea from that. You get a good idea from pictures, and send a company like BPO Photo Flow to go look at properties for you and pay them 30, 35, 40 bucks to go take a bunch of pictures so you don't need to. And they'll even give you a short little write-up on the property. So the mindset, your mindset needs to be, I need to just find deals. I don't need to go out and look at these properties. So if you can't get into that mindset, if you can't figure out how to get into that mindset, don't get into virtual wholesaling, because you're just going to fail. It's not going to work for you. Stay local, find local rentals, find local properties for you to fix and flip, because you obviously need that and you feel more comfortable that way. And I don't want to tell you how to feel, but for me, it's really, really easy. I like virtual investing better. And I do like the fact that I can just come out to a place like Casper, Wyoming here and go check out the market, see what it's got both commercially, residentially, and see what the rents are, see what the resales like, see what the properties on the market are like, and just get a whole idea of what each market has, right? And each market is similar and different, right? Most markets have a ton of similarities, right? What you're looking for a Walmart in that area potentially, or Home Depot or Lowe's, some kind of major department store like that. So you know that it's actually a large enough city for growth. And if you're looking in real rural areas, which I do at times too, you're not going to have that. It's a smaller town. It's more retired people, or people looking to get out in the middle of nowhere. And there are plenty of those people. So trust me, there are buyers in that market. For some reason, some investors get in this mindset that there aren't buyers for rural properties. And in case you didn't know it, this whole pandemic has switched everybody's thinking, and you have a ton of people looking in rural areas, and way more now than ever. So basically the market has come to what my investment style was, which is great for me because we're having a banner year because of that too. And I know I'm going to run into more competition now buying these rural properties because of it, which is totally fine. And I'll shift and I'll adjust from that, because wherever the people are flocking to, I'll shift and go to another spot that's now being neglected, another market or another area. that's being neglected, and I can pick up things at a good price at. So just want you to understand your mindset is your most important thing in real estate investing. And if you want to virtually invest and have rentals in different states, you've got to have the right mindset or you're not going to be able to deal with it right. For these properties here, my realtor, who already does manage properties, would be my property manager. He would be my boots on the ground. He'd handle everything. I may have a website like Buildium handle the rents and everything so I can collect and get all the rents that way. I'd rather have that personally. That's just me, because I want to come directly to me as much as possible, and then I'll pay him out, or just it comes to me and I could probably set it up so a percentage just goes to him or his company, and pay it that way. But there's so many different resources, guys, out there for you guys to use that you don't need to go to these markets. Yeah, maybe you want to go see it once, like I am here. Now I know what it is. And the only reason I'd come back out here again is to go manage or look at the project as it's going along, or just because I enjoy it out here and maybe want a vacation out here. You got the Platte River out here. You could do some fly fishing. There's mountains for skiing here, locally even. They're a little smaller. They're not as good as they are in Jackson Hole, but it's still gonna be decent skiing out here. And it's a nice area. And it's close from Denver. It's about an hour and 5-minute flight from Denver. So it's easy to fly to Denver, then fly up here. But yeah, like getting back to the mindset, you just have to have a mindset that you're okay owning in an area where you can't easily get to. Right? And if you can't shift to that mindset, don't look at virtual investing. Right? I personally love virtual investing, and that's the mindset I'd rather have. I'd rather have things in areas where I can't get to, because then I'm less likely to go do anything to those properties. And if you want to, for maintenance, send somebody out there once every 6 months or once a year to take a look at the property, assess it, take pictures, photos, what needs done, what doesn't need done, and you can keep up with it that way. Very, very easy to do in this day and age with technology, guys. There's no reason for you to have rentals within 20 minutes of you, which, gosh, so many investors near me in Pennsylvania, I want to be within 20 or 30 minutes of my rentals. And I just don't get that mindset. I really don't. Don't overmanage everything. These guys are just overmanaged control freaks, and there's no reason for that. You don't need that. You can self-manage without a property manager out of your market. You can hire a realtor. Here's a little piece of advice. What I do a lot of times when I'm renting these properties out, you have two different options, right? If you want to do it real low cost, just make as much money as possible. Get a lockbox put on that unit. You can get an electronic lockbox if you want, and give out codes. Let people go see it. Then have them go to either cozy.com to sign up in an application, or Buildium, or whatever other resource you're using. Propello, I think, or Propelio. Like, there's a bunch of other ones out there that do similar things. And then you manage the whole process. Then you send out keys, or you have somebody get them keys and get them access there. And then they're moving in. You could do the lease is all done through DocuSign. Everything's done electronically. Everything you need is done electronically. They will scan and email you all of the documents that you need. Their pay stubs, their bank statements, their application, and anything else. Everything is going to be done that way. So it's very simple. If you want to go the realtor route, which I've done in several markets as well, you have realtors take them there. Realtor takes the application, does everything, makes the recommendations to you that you should or shouldn't take these people based on such and such. And then they either get the first month's rent or half the first month's rent, whatever you want to do. I would entice the first month's rent, just because they are going to be more motivated to rent it for you. Then getting a full month's rent is a nice commission. And then you can either keep them on as property manager and have them handle it, or do what I do, where I just take it over from there. And then when I renew the lease, it's all done DocuSign, like I do. With all my tenants, when they come renew, everything's sent them through DocuSign. They sign it, boom, and everything's updated. And rent increases, everything can be done through email and text messaging at this point. And as far as notifications, my tenants reach out to me through text message or email when they have any kind of an issue, or reach out to my VA, one or the other. You can have everything go through your VA if you want to get larger and have more units, and have a virtual assistant help you with doing that. And they can really manage all your properties for you, a VA, if you train them right. So it is pretty simple, as far as finding contractors out in that area. Not very hard to do out of state. It's pretty easy to find guys, pretty easy to find handyman. And if you're dealing with a realtor out there, they will know local contacts, local handyman, local HVAC, electricians, plumbers, whatever you need. And it's really easy to manage properties virtually, guys. And I just want you to understand that and get in that mindset. And I'm going to end on that. I hope you enjoyed this episode, and we'll be